Today our topic is about slavery. Now somebody sent me a video, and in the video the sheikh, he says in Islam slavery have only one reason, which is war. Is it true really that slavery is only coming from war? There is very easy way to prove that this is a big fat lie. As an example, all of us, we heard of a woman, her name is Mary the Copt. This is a very well-known Islamic website, and the sheikh there is a very well-known sheikh from Saudi Arabia. His name is Saleh al-Munjid. They are asking, about Mary the Copt, the Coptia, which means the Egyptian. The real Egyptian is the Coptic Christians who they are in Egypt now, not the Muslims. Was Maria the Coptia one of the mothers of the believers? Mother of the believers is a term Muslims they use when they speak about any woman Muhammad he did marry, or she became his wife. Muslims, they lie to us always, and they say, yeah, Mary the Copt, she was his wife. In fact, she was never ever. Question: there was no doubt that Maria the Copt was a concubine of a messenger of Allah, and she bore him a son is called Ibrahim. By the way, I believe strongly that Muhammad never have a son, and this Ibrahim have nothing to do with Muhammad. This is why Aisha, she many times she said to him, he don't even look like you, don't you can tell? The answer: praise be to Allah, as usual. The Prophet, peace be upon him, etc., did not marry Maria the Coptia. Rather, she was a slave girl who was given to him by Al-Muqawqas, the ruler of Egypt. Now, in the video, the guy right away he said, in Islam we have only one source of slavery, which is war. Al-Muqawqas was the ruler of Egypt. He sent Muhammad big huge gift, many slaves and a lot of gold. A lot of gold. So why they lie to us and they say that the source of slavery is only war? A gift. Muhammad, he opened his door, he found a bunch of slaves in the front of his house. Did Muhammad free them? No. He took them and he started having sex with them, the women, and the men he added them to the list of his slaves. This is the book about the mother of the believers, page number 133. It says here, Maria the Coptia, Mary the Copt, the daughter of Shamaun, which means Simon. She was a gift to him from Al-Muqawqas, the ruler of Egypt, the ruler of Alexandria exactly, and he gave him with her sister Serene, and a guy who is his penis is cut off. And the Prophet, he gave Serene to Hassan ibn Thabit, so he is giving a gift, like he kept that one, the beautiful one, and her sister, she is less beauty or more older, he gave her to Hassan ibn Thabit. Al-Muqawqas, he sent, the ruler of Alexandria, he sent in the year 7 of Al-Hijrah, which means the 7th year after Muhammad he left Mecca, Mary the Copt and her sister with 1,000 weight of gold and 20 dress, which is most expensive, and he sent him a very spoiled mule, and he sent him a donkey. Here we see that Muhammad, how much he receiving money and gifts and human as gifts. But in the Islamic videos they say the source of slavery always was and only war, which is absolutely a lie. There's a hadith where a man, he did marry a woman, and he came to the Prophet and he said to him, I did marry this woman and I found that she is she had sex with someone else and soon she will have a baby. So the Prophet, he says, you lash her 100 lashes because she committed adultery before she marry you, and her son will be your slave. Additional to that, what about Bilal himself? Bilal himself was bought. Bilal, the slave of the Prophet, he was bought by Abu Bakr. And Bilal, the poor man, he was begging for his freedom. He converted to Islam, yet they will not free him. To the point, Bilal, he said to Abu Bakr, if you bought me for yourself, then keep me for yourself. But if you have bought me for the sake of Allah, or for Allah's sake, then leave me for Allah work, or for Allah's sake. Somebody saying to me, Muslim pauper, so why it is wrong to accept gifts? Did not David give gold and slaves and more to God? How David can give it to God? I don't know, what does that mean? I mean, what God will do with the slaves? Why you Muslims, why we cannot find a Muslim he say things as it is? So if this is the source of slavery, say this is the source of slavery. There's only one reason for a person to hide his belief, is to be ashamed of it. Was Bilal bought? Yes. So what do you mean the source of slavery is only war? Was Mary the Copt was a gift, and her sister and her cousin and 1,000 weight of gold? I mean, imagine, guys, they say to us the prophet was poor. 1,000 weight of gold. We do not know how is that, you know, like a truck of gold. The prophet was poor. The prophet, he have 13 wives. How a person he is poor, he can afford to have 13 wives? You know, Aisha, she swear she will not talk to a guy. Ibn Zubayr, as I remember. She made an oath by Allah, I will never talk to him. Do anyone knows what Aisha she did in order to be forgiven by Allah to talk to him? Because she spoke to him after she took an oath. What Aisha she did just because she broke an oath. What she did for that oath, she promised she will not talk to this person. She freed 40 slaves. 40 slaves. How in the world Aisha she have 40 slaves? The Muslim, they keep saying to us the prophet was poor. Let me find the hadith so they will not say I'm making things up. Hold on. I found the hadith. At the end it says that Aisha she freed 40 slaves. She freed how many? Just because she broke an oath. Do you see how poor the prophet is? Aisha alone, she freed 40. She did not free all her slaves. This is some of her slaves. This is the same Sahih hadith. This is what? The same Sahih hadith. Aisha, she swear she will never talk to this man, Abdullah ibn Zubayr. I vow before Allah that I will never speak to Ibn Zubayr. And how Aisha, she fixed that. She made a vow and now she broke it. So look what happened. Later on, because she spoke to him, she spoke to Abu Zubair, she broke her oath. And she freed 40 slaves, for she is breaking her vow. Her vow. Do you see it, guys? We found it in English, thanks God. And this is Al-Bukhari. And this is Sahih. I mean, imagine I have 40 slaves in my house. I need to feed them. What I will feed them? I have to this is not all of them. This is not all of them. This is just some of her slaves. How many she have? He used to have a lot of slaves just for fun, especially from Ethiopia, and those are not from war. Did Muhammad have a war and at the time of Aisha with the Ethiopian? No. So where the Ethiopian slaves are coming from? They bought them. I met Aisha, I asked her about a nabid, making wine. Aisha, she is an expert in wine. That was served to Allah Messenger. Aisha and a woman, they are talking about what is the wine you serve the Prophet of Allah. Aisha called the Ethiopian slave. You see here they put it servant. This is not a servant, this is a slave, Jariya, and said ask her about it, for it was he, I mean this is translation, her, not he, who prepared the nabith for Allah Messenger. And here you will see that this is a wine. They cannot say this is not a wine. Who won the hadith? Who won the hadith? She tied it up to make it, like this is how you make the wine. You put the juice and you tie it up in the heat, and it's going to, by time it's going to turn into something else. So here, this is a servant to where Aisha she is getting her. She is captured in a war. She's an Ethiopian. Look at those Ethiopian slaves playing music for Muhammad. Sahih Muslim. Aisha reported that Abu Bakr came to her and she was with her 2 girls. What kind of girls they are? They are slaves. In Arabic it says jariyatan. In English it says 2 girls, but the fact it doesn't say 2 girls, it says 2 slave girls. Do you see it? وعندها جاريتان في أيام. So do you see it, Muslims? Why in the translation it doesn't say 2 slaves? What happened? I thought the music is haram and the Prophet is poor. You see, the Prophet, he don't go to the bar to enjoy dancing girls. The bar come to him because he's very poor, right? All the translation, Islamic translation, is a lie. Look, وعندي جواري, they translate jawari as girls. Jawari is slaves. Yahya related to me from Malik, from etc. from that slave girls of Abdullah ibn Umar used to wash his feet and bring him meat of palm leaves while they were ministrating. Malik was asked whether the man who had women and slave girls should have intercourse with them all before the ghusl, before he washed his private part. He said there's no haram in a man having intercourse with 2 of his slave girls before he does ghusl, a threesome. Where are those slaves coming from? Buying them, those are not kidnapped. And the Muslims were buying and selling slaves for centuries. Actually, until now they have slaves. Mauritania is the biggest slavery country in the world. Libya, they have more than 20,000 African slaves as we speak now, and the world doing nothing about it. Saudi Arabia, you name it. Here, some young girls singing. They entered upon Muhammad and he found some young girls singing. Where it says young girls singing? Those are young slaves singing. Like, do you think girls, they will go to the house of somebody and they sing for him? Who are those young girls singing to Muhammad? Some girls singing to the Prophet. Why they are there? Why I don't have girls singing in my house? Let me open the door. Maybe some girls will walk by. So those girls who sing into the Prophet, who are they? Slaves. Look at this hadith. What if somebody he decide to free his slave? What Muhammad will do? A man, he freed his slave and he had no other property except that. So the Prophet canceled the freedom. Why? What is the business of Muhammad? What the Prophet did? The Prophet, the guy, he free his slave. Okay, he don't have anything, he own nothing except the slave. Why Muhammad is intervening? What's the problem? Should everybody have a slave? If I am a person who own a slave and I decide to let him go, why Muhammad intervene and he forced that slave to be a slave again? So Muhammad now, he care for the master, he don't care for the slave, obviously. What the Muslim will say about this? They will say the guy, he don't have any other other property. So what does that mean? That means Muhammad, he care only for the free man to own property. He don't care for the slave man to have his freedom. Which one is more priceless? I mean, the guy, the free man, is a free man at least. He have something, he have his freedom. The slave, he owned nothing. Not only he canceled the freedom, he took the slave and he sold him to a different person. If you go in the there's many books like Muwatta Malik as an example. If a person he touch a woman vagina and she is a slave, you have to buy her. You can touch but not her vagina. But if you touch the vagina, you can, but then you must buy her. That's it. There's a story on Ibn Umar that when he buys slaves, he always touches their breast. He lift up their skirts to see their legs and her ass. Let me see if I can find you the reference. islamweb.net fatwa number, let me show you the fatwa number, 272938. the numbers in Arabic. What is the ruling about touching slaves for the purpose, looking and touching slaves for the purpose of buying? And here they explain to you what is the purpose. From Ibn Hanbal, he says it is okay if he kissed her, if he wanted to buy, because she have nothing forbidden in her, all right. And it is allowed أجاز تقليب الصدر والظهر بمعنى لمسه من فوق الثياب. It's allowed for you, before you buy her, to touch her breast and her back from the top of the cloth, if he like can protect himself from the desire. Like you get horny right away, because you have to wait until you get her home. You can't jump on her in the street. It is not allowed to touch for the sake of a desire, because you did not buy her yet. She's not yours. See how conservative the Muslims. I mean, after you buy her, you can have sex with her, but now you did not buy her, so why you want to enjoy something is not yours? Haram, haram. Question about the man, he is looking at this, he want to buy a slave. Is it okay to look at her hands? He says, I hope there's no problem with that. And he said, what about her waist and her legs? He says, I don't think that's necessarily. I mean, rules. From Al-Imam Al-Sarkhasi, he says, if a man he wanted to buy a slave, it's okay for him to look at her hair, her chest, her legs. There's a hadith we did not mention. Every human being, he is not a Muslim, should be enslaved. Every human being, he is not a Muslim, should be enslaved. This is Sahih al-Bukhari. The verse in the Quran, chapter 3, 110, it says, you are the best of mankind. Islam is a fascist religion. Islam is a fascist religion. Believe that Muslims are a supremacist. Muslims are supreme. They think they are the best of mankind, and everyone else should be their slaves. You are the best of mankind means the best of the people for the people, as bring them with the chains around their necks until they embrace Islam. And now until they embrace Islam, are they going to be freed? No, not necessarily. So we are the best of mankind, and you are nothing. You are our slave, and we bring you with the chains around your neck. As I know, Muhammad, he never free Bilal. Muhammad, he died, and Bilal is asking his real owner, which is the one who bought him, Abu Bakr, if you bought me for the sake of Allah, well, free me for the sake of Allah. If you bought me for yourself, then keep me for yourself. Do you see it? Why Bilal is begging for his freedom? There is no way Bilal is saying that unless he feels that this is unjust. Somebody cheated on him. They told him, if you convert to Islam, we will let you free. And now he is a Muslim. He told him, if you convert and you fight with us. He fought with them. And even Muhammad, he made fun of the look of Bilal. Anyone remember what Bilal was called according to Muhammad? Who remember what Bilal was called by Muhammad? Who remember? Just to show you how Muhammad respect black people. Anyone remember? Raising head. Do you think raising head as a description is a good description for a black person? Who was a Muslim when explained to us how nice Muhammad is by saying that Bilal is a raisin head. The Prophet said, listen and obey your chief. So Muhammad, he made his slave Bilal a chief in the war. This is just for a war. This is not because he became a master. No, this is a war. He's a he's a black man who have a good body, good fighter, physically very good. So Muhammad, he made him a chief of a group. And those Arab, an Ethiopian slave is going to be our chief? Muhammad, he said to them, even if he is an Ethiopian, whose his head is like a raisin, were made your chief. You see it? Do you see it, Muslims? Is that a statement of somebody respect black people? Muhammad, he owned slaves. They say to us Muhammad was poor. Aisha, she freed 40 not because she liked to free slaves, but because she broke an oath. And that was the real reason behind the freeing the slaves, not because now she feared Allah will punish her, because now she broke the oath. So how Aisha, she had 40 slaves to free, and they lie to us. They say that Muhammad was a very poor man. I mean, do you see how poor Aisha she is? Assume, which is not a right number, every wife of Muhammad, she have 40 x 13, they have 520 slaves. Only the wives he have 520 female slaves. And why she freed them? Not because she's a good woman, no, because she disobey Allah. Muslims, they free slaves when they commit a crime. It's a punishment, not a reward. Like if a Muslim, he kill a Muslim by mistake, now he commit a crime against Allah. So the slave is like a chicken, give a chicken out. So I want to say thank you guys for being here. May the Lord bless you, and until we see you soon again. Christ is Lord, Islam is false, and thank you very much. Take care.